A few days ago was a day that started like any other day for me. I had my morning routine and prayer and reflection, breakfast and coffee, and then I heard the noise of my to-do list calling out to me, all of the work tasks I needed to be about for that day, and I responded to that noise by diving into my to-do list. Now, the work I was doing was at the home office here in the rectory behind me, which meant that because I was home, I was susceptible to interruptions, most notably from my dog, Blue. And interrupt he did. Even though he had been out for a nice morning walk, he wanted to spend a little bit more time outside in the church courtyard before it got too hot. So I'm in the office working, and Blue's tapping on the floor by the back door, wanting to go out. Now, at first, I resisted. I kept telling him to leave it and to relax, but eventually Blue won, and I bargained with him, and I said, Blue, I'll give you 5 minutes and we can sit out in the courtyard together. So I grabbed my coffee and I went out into the courtyard with Blue and sat down in a chair. And all of a sudden, yes, there was the noise of the to-do list that was still calling out to me, but all of a sudden I found myself caught up in this different song, this sacred noise of creation all around me. I heard the morning song of a cardinal on the platform feeder, surrounded by the morning songs of several finches. I heard the buzz of a hummingbird fly by my ear as it went to a feeder, and I marveled as I watched it feed. I always marvel at those tiny creatures. I heard the chirping of chipmunks who were warning each other that Blue was on the prowl in the courtyard, and they had best be careful, even though Blue is far too lazy to even come close to catching a chippy. And again, even though there was the noise of the to-do list, for whatever reason, I found myself finding the grace to ignore that noise and just get caught up in this sacred song of creation for several moments. My heart swelled up with gratitude just knowing that I was a part of creation in any way. And actually, I ended up getting my laptop and working out in the courtyard for a good hour until it got too hot for Blue and for me, and then I went back inside, grateful to hear that song of creation around me. In verse 3 of Psalm 50, the psalmist sings of God's inability to keep silent, celebrating that God is always singing this sacred song, whether we're aware of it or not. And then that is a holy invitation for us to pause and pray today, reflecting on where it is that we hear that holy noise, that sacred song of the divine in our lives. Maybe it's heard in the voices of partners and children, or in that song of creation that we can hear any morning when we wake up. Or maybe it's heard in a literal song by an artist that we keep coming back to again and again for inspiration. Maybe we can also spend some time today holding somebody in our hearts that we might think could use to hear a sacred song in their lives, and maybe in some way we might be moved to be an instrument of that song for them. But ultimately today we're invited to offer a prayerful thank you for that holy noise and that sacred song that continues to be sung for us and even through us. God's peace and blessings to you all.